Adobe finally released its long-awaited big Photoshop update. This means Generative Fill, Generative Expand and the new Remove tool are finally out of beta and can be used in the newest Photoshop version 2024. So let's take a closer look at it. If you don't see the update like I did in the Creative Cloud, make sure to go to Help and here check for updates. As always, if you want to follow along, you can find a link to all the files I will be using in the description of this video. So what can we expect? The tool I personally was looking forward the most is actually the new Remove tool. This thing is basically the spot removal tool on steroids. So where can we find it? Head towards the spot healing brush and here you can find the Remove tool. So what this does is, just like the spot healing brush, we are painting over things we want to get rid of. So let's say we want to remove this woman from this image. All I have to do is just paint over her. Let's also include the shadow down here. And once we're done, just release the mouse. As you can see, this looks quite good in very specific areas like down here or up there, which would have been impossible using the spot healing brush. Of course, there are still a few weird areas, but we are just going to brush over them again using the Remove tool, which should nicely fix that. Down there we still have a bit of a shadow, so I'm going to paint over this as well, and it's gone. So we basically went from this to this with just a few clicks using the new Remove tool. But that's not everything. Let's go back to the original image. Another exciting feature this tool has is the remove after each stroke checkbox. By default, it's activated, but if we deactivate it, we can just brush over the thing we want to remove. As we do this, we can release the mouse button without it automatically filling the area. This means we do have an easier time selecting difficult subjects. So I can nicely brush over everything I want to remove, even in different areas. So I got my selection here. Let's also remove that guy on the left. I can just paint over it without worrying about Photoshop filling the area. Alright. And once we're happy with it, we just need to confirm pushing this button up here. Again, there are a few leftover areas, but we can easily fix them by just brushing over them once more. And thus we're just working our way to a cleaner image. Again, let's confirm this selection. And we're done. So this is looking really good, and this would have been impossible using something like the spot healing brush. So the Remove tool is great for fixing smaller areas of the image, getting rid of people or whatever you want. Now let's move on to the next feature, the Generative Fill. This has been hyped up on social media like crazy, and there's a good reason for it. Just let me show it with this image. Let's say we want to remove that car right there in the center. Using something like the Clone Stamp tool or the Content Aware Fill tool, this would be close to impossible. But watch this. I'm going to select the lasso tool and I'm just going to start making a rough selection around the car. I'm including the shadow, obviously, just like that. And once we have our selection, you see this new bar down here in Photoshop. We just hit a Generative Fill and we choose Generate. Of course, this will take a while, but it's really worth it. And now just look at this. This is insane. Look how perfectly Photoshop's AI has removed that car. We do have perfectly looking windows down here. The sidewalk also looks quite good, and even the shadows of that building. So I guess at this point you can understand why this tool got so hyped up on social media. If you're not happy with the result, Photoshop offers you 3 different variations. So we can choose from this one, or this one. I actually prefer the first one. Of course, there are more features the Generative Fill offers us. So let's see. Let's use the rectangular marquee tool and just create a box like this. And I want to insert a few birds up here. So let's hit Generative Fill. And here we can write a prompt, what should be inserted in this area. So let's say insert a few birds. And then hit Generate. So this tool decides to insert some close-up birds, and I'm not sure what's going on with this one, but I think this one looks quite good. Maybe we will have a better time inserting some boats on this lake, so let's do just that. Again, create a selection, use Generative Fill, write a prompt, insert a red, what is it called? Yeah, I think it's a rowing boat. And let's hit generate. This looks much better, even with the reflection. Again, we can choose between different variations here. Let's see, this is even better looking, and that's the best one so far. So let's go with this one. If you're still not happy with those variations, you can click on generate once more and Photoshop will give you 3 new generated objects. So as you can see, this tool is very, very helpful. Now, one more tool I want to show you, and that is the Generative Expand feature. For that, you want to head into the crop tool. You can press C for that. And here you want to go into the fill drop-down menu up here and choose Generative Expand. Now all you need to do is to make your image bigger like that. Let's expand all the sides here. And once you're happy with it, just confirm the cropping. Again, generating this area will take a while, but it's worth it. Now look at this, you would not notice the edit area without knowing how this image looked before. Keep in mind, this would never have been possible using the content aware tool, since you would end up with something looking very, very strange with repeating pattern or something else. Just look how nicely Photoshop has added those trees on the sides. Besides the new remove tool, this is probably the one thing that will be used the most for my landscape photography, and those are the 3 main features of this Photoshop update 2024. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, and thank you so much for watching this video.